Gong, 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 gong. We're gonna be trying Kansas City
barbecue.
We are in Kansas City right now. You might not be able to tell because we're just in front of a river, but yeah,
The iconic Kansas City River. Every KC person knows about it.
People claim, there's no way to prove it, but people say Kansas City is the barbecue capital of the world.
No, I don't believe you.
We're in the Mecca of BBQ.
Kansas City barbecue started with a man named Henry Perry.
Any relation to Katy Perry?
Not that I know of. During the early 1900s, he started selling his barbecue meats in a food cart somewhere in Kansas City. People fell in love with it, and his business got bigger and bigger. Sadly, he died in the year 1940, but his legend of barbecue still lives on in Kansas City and in the world. Thank you, Henry Perry, for this magic of barbecue.
There's a little saying around town that anywhere you are in the city limits, take a big whiff and you'll smell a hint of that Henry Perry barbecue still in the air.
What even is Kansas City barbecue? Good question, lady.
We'll mansplain it to you.
Traditionally, all of the meats, whether it's pig, cow, chicken, lamb, even fish, they are smoked. Low and slow is the method. People put rubs on the meat before putting them in the smoker. And then of course there's the barbecue sauce. I'm gonna use the word again. Traditionally, it's molasses based, so it has a sweet component, and then it has a mix of savory and sweet flavors. Sometimes it's tomato based. And now, if that's not enough for you, they also hold the world's biggest barbecue competition here in the KC area. The American Royal World Series of Barbecue.
Oh. Shut up!
No, I'm not joking. In this video, we're gonna be trying 4 Kansas City barbecue restaurants, putting them against each other and seeing what the barbecue boys, Lucas and Jacob, think of it. Some people say this is the best barbecue restaurant in all of Kansas City. I think some people have even said this is the best barbecue restaurant in the entire world.
Oh, damn! We're starting with a splash.
Arthur Bryant's barbecue. One of the reasons this barbecue joint is so famous is because it traces back to the father of Kansas City barbecue, Henry Perry. When Henry Perry died, he handed the business over to Charlie Bryant, and then Charlie Bryant handed the business over to his brother, Arthur Bryant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's been passed down a few times, but it still all is connected to the father himself. We were saying the logo looks familiar.
Somewhere in either a dream or reality, I've seen this business before. Maybe it's just because of the red and white stripes. I feel like that might just be a common branding. We believe in barbecue.
One of the things I do believe in is barbecue. I've always been a barbecue person. I believe in it. You walk in and it sort of just has this down home. Jacob described it as he kind of felt like we were walking into a family reunion, which I get that energy. It just felt very homey.
Something about this place felt like I was going to see my cousins that I haven't seen in a decade, and I would have to have a few awkward conversations to catch up with them.
So you think you're in this humble abode, but then they have all these flashy accolades on the wall. They've been in every magazine. They've won every award. Every president has been there.
Barack Obama, Jimmy Carter, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is not a president, but he is a famous actor.
I was wowed when I saw the place where you line up and order it I don't know why it was so cool to me, but I think it's because a lot of places that just opened in the last 5 years try to have this aesthetic, but it was cool knowing that this is like actually old, you know?
There's a few windows to order from, and you say what you want, and they just immediately start creating it. It's instant. You would say, I want a brisket sandwich, boom, boom, pow. I want potato casserole, boom, boom, pow. Like,
Very Black Eyed Peas.
it's kind of like an abracadabra type thing. They have a wand and it just appears.
When you're about to order though, there's so much adrenaline going through your system because it was a very fast-paced environment. It was like, you better know what you want. Like, it just seemed like they meant business, and it was like, you gotta get on board or leave.
And they give you it on lunch trays like you're at a school cafeteria, and you sit down wherever you want to sit down.
Hi, my name's Ethan, and I'm just gonna be in the back, just chilling. But I'm here. I'm just gonna try all the food, and yeah.
You're our brother, right?
Yep.
18th and Vine sandwich. I started cutting this into threes, and immediately I was like, crap. This is kind of messy, but I guess it will do.
Yeah, I actually heard Ethan suggest to you, do it like a pizza, but you just went rogue.
This is one of their classic sandwiches. It has pulled pork. It has coleslaw.
It sounds so simple, but once you took a bite, you were like, this has everything you could ever want in a sandwich. They also gave us pickles on the side of each tray, so I added some pickles into mine as well.
You had to add the little pickles on there. It just felt like I was like Katy Perry, like I was in space. I took off. I was in space. It was otherworldly.
Like, I kind of was like, wait, did we try the best thing first? Because this is like their star item, you know what I mean? And we maybe should have saved it.
I haven't won any of the accolades to be able to be an EGOT winner, but I would say when I took that bite, I did know what it was like to be an EGOT winner. There was so much theatrical elements going through my taste buds.
It's like you're biting into I don't even know what, a bunch of hair? Just you're biting into this big clump, but it's so good.
But
Not
it kind of has the same texture as hair, is what you're saying?
No, it actually is nothing like biting into hair, but I was just trying to think of some way to describe it, but no extra sauce is needed. It all was in the sandwich.
I'm not completely sure, but it's probably one of the best pulled pork sandwiches I've ever had. Now we're going to try another legendary Kansas City barbecue item. While I was doing my little Kansas City barbecue research, I found out that Kansas City barbecuians love burnt ends. This is how Wikipedia describes burnt ends. Burnt ends are the crusty, fatty, flavorful meat cut from the point of a smoked beef brisket. Honestly, that doesn't sound tasty to me. That actually sounds gross, but this is very famous. And also a little tidbit is, originally, burnt ends were just thrown in the trash because it was like, no one wants this, it's gross. We want the middle meaty part. But then people were like, oh, we love these. We go on our knees for burnt ends. And then burnt ends became an iconic Kansas City barbecue thing.
I was picturing all these scraps all gross and gritty, but looking at it, I'm kind of confused still about the whole thing. It just looked like actual meat. Like, that doesn't look like the stuff they were throwing into the trash. Am I just a trash person, so I think it looks normal to me?
This is meant to be a sandwich, but it is called an open-faced sandwich, but let's be honest, it's not a sandwich. It's just two pieces of white bread with a bunch of burnt ends. Wow. This is also so good. I think the pulled pork sandwich is better, but this is also a close second. It has different flavors going on. This tasted more tangy to me. It wasn't as simple as the pulled pork sandwich.
Mushed in your mouth, because it was fattier, because that's kind of what burnt ends are, right? Like, all fatty.
Yeah.
And it was like not gum, but it was just so good. It was so tender, I guess is a better way to describe it. So flavorful. The fatness adds all the amazingness.
You know the saying, one man's trash and another man's treasure? This is a staple for that saying. Because they used to throw it away back in the day, but this is our treasure. That meat is so good. The meat was good. I didn't have like any like super fatty parts. I think maybe one of you guys had like some fatty parts, but all mine was just like regular meat and it was good.
These were more like tender and juicy to me. Like, they didn't live up to the name burnt ends.
I know, they weren't, yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't think I am a burnt ends Tons fan.
Just hearing about how they're described, I feel like, yeah, I'm more of a pulled pork boy. They serve a bunch of different types of meats you can get by the pound, by the half pound. So we got some briskets, a half pound of it. So this was probably the most plain thing. We probably shouldn't have had this last, you know, because like it's not really gonna stand out after we just had burnt ends and the amazing famous sandwich, you know? But it was good, but I was just thinking like I wish I had another 8th and Vine, what's it called? I saw a thing on the wall talking about old school barbecue sauce versus modern barbecue sauce or something, so I was excited to try the old school barbecue sauce, and it completely different than I was expecting. Like, I was confused, like it didn't even taste like barbecue sauce to me.
Tried a piece in the original barbecue sauce, and I didn't really like it because it tasted so vinegary, and it didn't taste as sweet as these new barbecue sauces.
But they also had some more modern barbecue sauces, I guess, and those were great.
The brisket, I just feel like that one was more like plain. It's like a little bit too plain for me because all the other meats, it was like slathered in barbecue sauce, and like, I don't know, it just didn't hit the same.
But then again, you know how there's these boring people who they like boring food, so they have to have something for those people.
By itself, it wasn't that good to me, but if you dunk it in barbecue sauce, I was a fan of it. And you know you had a good time if you spilled on yourself. It definitely met my expectations of Kansas City barbecue. You're gonna smell like barbecue for the next week if you go to Arthur Bryant's.
Oh, yeah, if you really sniff into your sleeve, you can still smell a tiny bit.
Oh my, I am stuffed.
Gates Barbecue.
Made by the Bill Gates family.
Don't lie to the viewers. It actually has no connection to the Bill Gates family, but it does have a connection to the father of Kansas City barbecue, Henry Perry. At this point, I feel like I'm gonna start having dreams about Henry Perry from the amount of times it's came out of my mouth. The Gates Barbecue was made in 1946 by the Gates family. Again, no connection to Bill Gates, but why it does have a connection to Henry Perry is because one of the cooks that helped make Gates Barbecue was a cook at Henry Perry's barbecue place. We were in awe with this building. It was all brick. It looked very formal. Like I felt like I should have been wearing a suit or something.
Time to have our P's and Q's in order. I don't even know what that means. We walked in, there were a bunch of old-timey things, like a little horse, so I hopped on the horsey. Didn't pay for shit though. I got a free ride.
There was a place to get your shoes cleaned.
So this is fancy. And actually, there were some dirty rags on there. So like, do they do that? Do they offer that service during like the rush hour? You weighed yourself. That's kind of a funny gimmick though at a heavy barbecue place. Oh, see how much you gained during the dinner, you know?
There was like a glass ceiling. Everything was just so well done. There was effort put in. Jaw was to the floor because I just wasn't expecting this from a barbecue place. Gates Barbecue slogan is, "Hi, may I help you?" Me and Lucas were just giggling that was their slogan because I thought every fast food or restaurant you went to, they ask you, hi, may I help you?
I know, because I get like Chick-fil-A, it's a moment saying, my pleasure, because, you know, no one really ever says that, but hi, may I help you? Like, that is just like what everyone says everywhere. But I like how they are making it a moment, you know, it's all about branding.
We got in the assembly line like we were at school lunch and they said, hi, may I help you? It was very much a yelling environment.
Don't be some little soft-spoken person, like get ready to be loud.
Then they plopped the food onto the plate and wow, we had a whole array of choice of where to sit.
We were there past the rush time, so like, yeah, we could take any seat we wanted. There was a piano though.
That was a cool touch, and I did click one of the keys, and that made me feel special. So the first thing we're going to try is a ham sandwich. I mean, yes, it sounds pretty basic, but we were very excited to try it. It was ham, white bread, bunch of barbecue sauce lathered on it.
Keep it moist. meats.
And then there was also pickles, and these were thick pickles. They weren't those little thin ones. They were the type of pickles when you bite into them, you get a big crunch. So we wrapped our mouths around this sandwich, and I mean, it didn't disappoint us. Yes, it is just a ham sandwich, so it can't be anything out of this world, but I gotta say, adding that barbecue on the ham sandwich did things.
Yeah, I never really associated ham with barbecue. They even had a turkey option, like there'd just be turkey. Like I never knew that was part of the barbecue scene. They are not skimping on the meats.
There was a few inches of ham in this sandwich,
Yes.
it felt like.
Meat mountain.
I appreciated how the ham was thinly sliced. What I'm realizing throughout this video is that I'm more of a thinly sliced meat boy. I don't really appreciate when meat is cut in thick pieces. And the barbecue sauce definitely wasn't your regular barbecue sauce. It was more tangy. It was also kind of spicy.
There was a lot of vinegar or something in these barbecue sauces because, spoiler alert, when I left the restaurant, my mouth had like this tingling going on, sort of like if you eat a lot of ginger or something at a sushi restaurant, but it was just there was something going on in my mouth that I liked, but something was reacting. Maybe I was low-key allergic, but I seemed to be fine.
We were hammed up, but we still had a whole other meal to devour.
Beef sandwich. I was confused because is this a brisket? Is this roast beef?
I'm 99% sure it's brisket.
Thought I was in love with the ham sandwich, but after digging into the beef one, I realized, okay, there's something better out there. Which kind of is like The Bachelor. Like, they might really like a girl, but then like you can't settle down with anyone too soon on these dating shows because there might be someone better, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what it was like. It was like, thank God I didn't wife up the ham sandwich because this beef one is the one.
Calling a sandwich just a plain beef sandwich, I will admit, kind of grosses me out. But it seems like that's sort of the vibe of these barbecue places, just being very blunt, raw. There's not really any fancy names. It just is literally, it's called what it's called.
Yeah.
This was way better than the ham sandwich. A Albi's roast beef sandwich, but if the Albi's roast beef sandwich, when it died, it didn't go to hell, it went to heaven. Because I'm just gonna guess that the Albi's roast beef sandwich went to hell because it sinned. This brisket beef sandwich, whatever, is going to heaven because it didn't sin.
Meat was dangling out of it.
They just get a few handfuls of meat and dump it on. I don't even think there's any measuring involved at this point. We also got some fries because I saw that there was people raving about barbecue fries. People were saying like the fries are the best side, and I was kind of confused because fries are so basic. You can get them anywhere, and like personally, I kind of always crave coleslaw or baked beans more than fries, but I was like, oh, let's give it a try. Immediately I noticed that these weren't salted. So I added salt to it, and I felt so mature because it seems like such a mature thing to me to put salt and pepper on your food.
I know, that brings you back to a different era. These fries like are one of my favorite type of fries, like these gushy type fries where I don't really like a crunchy fry. These are more like of a soggy gush, and I love it.
When I first had the fries, I was like, wait, why do people like these? But the more that I ate them, they slowly became addictive. I didn't understand what was happening with the chemistry of my brain, but I actually had to physically pull my arm away from the table because I started dipping the fries in the barbecue sauce. And this barbecue sauce, I just loved how it tasted so interesting. Barbecue sauce was making me go through emotions because it felt so tangy.
And I was even wrapping some of the meats around the french fries to make more of a dirty fry bowl.
Okay.
It worked together. I understand why this is a barbecue classic side.
Overall, Gates Barbecue felt very traditional, which makes sense because it has origins going back to Henry Perry. And I do appreciate what they were doing. And yes, it was tasty.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. You took the words right out of my mouth. But thank God you didn't take the food out of my mouth. Or there would have been a fist fight.
Barbecue, 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 barbecue. Da dum 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 dum. Barbecue, barbecue, barbecue. Da dum 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 dum. Joe's Kansas City barbecue. It may look like we're just at a gas station, but nope, it's not just a gas station. It's also one of the most popular barbecue restaurants in Kansas City. There was this article on Time Out, the best barbecue spots in America, and this was #1 on the list.
There also was an article saying this is a place everybody should eat at before they die. And everyone who's watching this video is gonna die at some point, so we're already eating here, but you all need to get it on your bucket list quick. We were saying that, like, why is it always Joe creating iconic things? Joe's Barbecue, Joe's Pizza, Joe's Crab Shack, Joe's... Like, there's other ones too.
We kind of came to the conclusion that from the day people with the name Joe are born, they already have a label on their back. Average Joe. So then people named Joe automatically become overachievers because they don't want to live up to average Joe. They want to be extraordinary Joe. So I think naming a child Joe could be a blessing because they're immediately going to become a successful person.
They're gonna leave a mark on this world and set you up for retirement. So honestly, that would be a good baby name if anyone's pregnant right now.
This was made in the year 1996, and it was made by two people named Jeff and Joy. And you may be wondering, wait, then why is it named Joe's Barbecue if it was made by Jeff and Joy? They had a business partner in the beginning that was named Joe, but now that business partner isn't a part of it. In Kansas City, where barbecue is a way of life, it is understood that smoke has mystical properties.
Smoke those meats.
This place was busy. People were ready to start eating barbecue. We went at about 5 o'clock, and there was already a line outside the door.
Oh yeah, one of the employees had to come out and say, you guys start lining up against the wall because otherwise it's gonna end up across the street.
So we waited outside for like 10 minutes, and then the line moved up and we got inside, and we were like, oh, like we aren't even halfway done with the line. The line continues inside. Somehow, some way over the rainbow, the line took like 30 minutes.
It wasn't bad at all because we just kept thinking about our order, and then like we'd always keep saying like, so is this actually what we want? Like we'd look at the menu again and say, maybe we should add this, and like we really, by the time we got to the cashier, we felt very confident in our order, you know?
I think the beans were actually like probably like literally like one of the best sides I ever had. They had a little bit of spice. It was like different kinds of beans. It wasn't just like regular baked beans, and it had some like corn in it. It had all like the fixings in there.
Immediately, it brought me to the 4th of July because it was like, is this an artillery show? Is this there's some black cats in here? You taste so much smoke, but in the best way. You're eating a firework, but in the best way.
Definitely I could make a whole 22-minute video about these sides because they were extraordinary. Baby, you're all that I want when I'm lying here in your arms. Man, it's hard to believe this isn't heaven. Now we're getting to one of the most iconic Kansas City barbecue items. The Z-Man at Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Brisket that's thinly sliced. Provolone cheese. Adding cheese on top of a barbecue sandwich I think is revolutionary. Onion rings, revolutionary. And then barbecue sauce, and I cut this one into pizza slices so we each got an equal part of it. And when I tried that, oh my gosh.
I'm actually glad you explained everything that was on it because when I tried it, I was like, I love this, but now actually knowing what was on it, like I don't actually think in the moment I looked at it and observed it because I just wanted to eat it so bad. So I'm glad that now I'm actually hearing what it was, you know? Because I remember I was kind of confused after because I was like, wait, there were onion rings on it? But it's just because I ate it so fast. Like, why didn't I
You were in a blackout?
Why didn't I actually enjoy it? I think I actually did black out.
That was one of like the best bites I've had. I was like, what happened? Because I was still eating mine and like theirs were just gone. They were ready to open up the ribs.
I know, I just can't believe I didn't savor it. Because it was actually so good, but I actually do think I was in a blackout.
I didn't realize there was cheese in it until now though. I didn't even know there was cheese in it.
I think we're learning that the Z-Man puts everyone into a blackout, but in a good way.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice, even though I was in a blackout, was the Z-Man had hints of sweetness. Like, I was sort of tasting a cinnamon roll at one point.
Since we were waiting 30 minutes in the line, we built up an appetite, and for whatever reason, we ordered a full rack of ribs. It's kind of stupid, but we did it. They were flavorful and tasty, but immediately after eating them, I was thinking, like, I feel like I've had ribs like this before. They weren't anything extraordinary, but they still were delicious.
Night of the Living barbecue sauce. Did you see the name? You have to smother it and all of that, and it was good. And it was ripping off the bone. There's something just fun about eating a rib, how it's so barbaric.
No matter who makes the ribs, whatever rib, it's always a hit. You can't really miss on a rib, honestly. And you just smother it in barbecue, and that rib's always gonna be good. Kind of felt like man versus food at the end.
Gotta say, by the end of this, I kinda had the meat sweats.
Your body starts shutting down and kind of going into a panic because too much meat has been consumed.
I fully understand the hype, the charisma behind Joe's Kansas City barbecue because I love it.
Love like the vibe there because like you're just going up there and it just looks like a gas station out on the side, but then you just walk in there and it's like good barbecue place and
Last thing we're gonna say is Joe's Kansas City barbecue is not your average Joe.
Q39.
Immediately I'm thinking that's an interesting name, like just Q39. I like how the simplicity of it.
Yeah, I was saying that the sign makes me think it's a radio station.
Since 2014, we've served chef-driven barbecue built on the hybrid of traditional culinary training and competition barbecue. This is the newest place we're trying. They're trying to keep the traditional barbecue going, but add more modern flares to it. They're also pointing out that this is done by chefs. Some of the other barbecue places, it seems like, are done by DIY barbecuers, but no, these people I think are trained. They're like these Food Network people, it seems like.
They're in that back kitchen and they have that, Food Network type outfit on.
This one is also unique because it's a restaurant dining experience. Full service, is that what you call this? Like there's actually a waiter or waitress.
It's a full sit-down experience, waiters, menus, the whole shebang. We sat on the patio and it was the best of both worlds because we were outside but the deck was screened in. So there would be no possibility of flies getting in there.
Mosquitoes.
Ants, polar bears, nothing.
There was a lot of standouts on this menu. I was immediately like, oh, they are doing a twist.
I know, like I was starting to be a little bit of a traditional person getting mad saying, there's tacos! Why is there tacos? Like I was about ready to get mad for the OG Kansas City barbecue purists.
There was barbecue nachos. My mind was boggled. You can do this with barbecue. It's allowed. There's no rules in life, guys.
Yes, this isn't traditional Kansas City barbecue, but I am going to accept that it's here.
Of course, we started this dinner with Diet Cokes with a lemon. We gotta get a props to this waitress because Lucas was annoying us and got like 4 Diet Cokes, and I swear within 15 minutes of sitting down, Lucas was on his 3rd Diet Coke.
She was really keeping an eye on us. I don't know if there was a secret camera on the table that she was looking at, but she always knew when I needed a new Diet Coke.
Please don't scream, calm down, but yes, we are going to try the tacos.
I had to see what twist these youngins were doing,
Pork belly or sliced brisket? Personally, pork belly kinda grosses me out. Just so you guys know, I am open to it. I've had it before, it tastes good, but I wanted brisket. First bite, I got overwhelmed. Borderline anxiety attack. It was insane how good these tacos were. I just don't want to say this because it might not be true, but like top 5 tacos I've ever had in my entire life.
It all just worked. It worked so well. Like, how did they do this?
These portions are so small. Every other place we've been to, huge portions, massive. You gotta admit, 2 tacos, For people like me and Lucas, we kind of are desiring 4. 3 is okay, 2 is gonna make me cry. It was kind of saddening, but this is kind of a more modern approach, I would say.
Maybe there's more of quality over quantity, you know?
There was a bunch happening. There was some like slaw, brisket. The best part of it was this aioli sauce at the bottom that was spicy. That sauce was so good.
I need to get those tacos again. Maybe even try the pork belly.
Yeah, I just have to have a moment of silence for those tacos because it is just like...
I'm proud of myself. I did that.
So the waitress recommended some items, so we of course got the item she recommended.
She said that this was the plate you had to get if it was your first time going there.
Yeah.
Because it has all the staples of Kansas City barbecue. The brisket and the burnt ends.
And you get to pick 2 sides. We decided to get sides that were more of a twist.
Modern.
We got apple slaw, mind-boggling. Coleslaw with apples, what? And then we also got Mexican street corn because honestly, that's a great idea for a barbecue restaurant, but we haven't seen that yet until now. We decided to get some of the burnt ends. We just had them raw, no dipping sauce, and they were good, but it took a lot of chewing.
Yeah, this sort of solidified for me. I respect Kansas City barbecue and how they love burnt ends, but for me personally, it isn't gonna be my favorite, you know? I tried it, it's good, but like, I would just never really order it because there's so many other meat options that I would prefer over them.
That's what I'm getting at. I appreciate burnt ends and I think it's a fantastic idea, but I don't think I would ever order burnt ends again. Then there was a few slabs of brisket. Now this is where it gets really moist, very melt in your mouth territory.
I know, this is when I understood brisket. I was like, oh my God, what? Come again? Pardon?
I don't want to say it, but the brisket was mental.
It actually went metal.
This is my truth, so I'm gonna say it. This was the best brisket we've had this entire video.
Yeah, I have to admit that it's the same for me.
Dipping it in the barbecue sauce was also next level.
That
Wait,
barbecue sauce left me in awe.
Lucas was kind of saying it tasted like whiskey. Barely had whiskey, but it kind of did.
Yeah, same with me. I'm not even a whiskey person, but like got a hint of alcohol or something.
What I'm now realizing is when I go back home and I have a barbecue sandwich and I put basic barbecue on that sandwich, I am going to be missing this Kansas City barbecue sauce because basic barbecue sauce is so sweet. Whereas these Kansas City barbecue sauces, I want to give them a pat on the back for really taking the step and fully doing something original, something I've never had. It has way more flavor than these barbecue sauces you get at the store.
Thumbs up all that. I dug into the apple slaw, which I was scared about. I was like, where's the apple? But once I took my first bite, I was excited because it tasted like classic coleslaw. Just had a little bit of a sweet kick. And every now and then you bit into a little bitten off part that someone in the back spit into it. Just kidding, they just probably cut them sanitarily. But there's little bits of apple that would just spruce it all up every now and then.
I was in love with this place because when I tried this apple slaw, I was like, okay, I'm never having coleslaw again. I'm only gonna have apple slaw because I love the sweetness. It's the classic thing. Sweet and savory, girls, get it. Sweet and savory is always so good. Oh my gosh.
I know, come buying them back and forth. When I took a bite of the Mexican street corn, I fully shed my Kansas City traditional barbecue mindset and realized, oh, okay, let's give it up for these youngins. Like, it was amazing. It was just creamy.
I was drooling over this street corn. Fire roasted corn. I think there'd be mayonnaise in it, and then they have like that one type of cheese. There's probably other stuff in this street corn, but that might be one of my new favorite barbecue sides. This is the very first barbecue place where we didn't leave a scrap on the table. Everything was lickety-split clean. Something funny about Q39 is that it lived up to the name. I had a bunch of Q's in my head. How did they create this to taste so good? How did this taste so good? Why are my pants wet?
Oh, there are 39 questions.
Yeah, I had 39 questions leaving. Ooh. This video wouldn't be over if we didn't do an official ranking. Of course, we've only touched the tip. Kansas City barbecue restaurants. There's over 100. We've only tried 4 of them.
So, third runner-up.
Last place, Gates Barbecue.
Of course we enjoyed it. I mean, it's in the top Kansas City barbecue places, and this is the mecca of barbecue in the whole universe. So, I mean, it's still good, but it's not better than the things above it.
If my friend Sally was like, let's go to Gates Barbecue, I wouldn't fight it. I'd be like,
Yes.
yes, let's do it.
Second runner-up.
Arthur Bryant Barbecue.
So basically the founding father of Kansas City barbecue, we're ranking both of his restaurants in a way on the bottom, which kind of shows we're just these young Gen Alpha boys and we like the more modern stuff.
Coleslaw on that 18th and Vine really made that sandwich.
Oh yeah, no, that 18th and Vine sandwich, I still will dream about that. First runner-up.
Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. This one really left me in awe with the sides being delicious. The Z-Man punching me in the face and almost breaking me in the jaw.
I also just like how it's in a gas station. That doesn't have anything to do with the food, but I did like that. Well, that leaves first place to
Q39.
We don't have a trophy to give them, but
This is the most generic saying, but it blew us out of the water.
I know.
Oh, well, we've had enough barbecue for the week. Just joking, I'd be down to have barbecue tomorrow.
I want a coleslaw sandwich.